There are moments rare, unrepeatable moments when time itself seems to pause, when something unseen reaches through the noise of your everyday life and taps you directly on the soul. This is one of those moments, and you need to understand something right now. You did not just click on this message. You were interrupted. Yes, interrupted. Because heaven saw something about to happen in your life tonight, something so significant, so irreversible, that it could not risk you missing it. While you were scrolling, thinking, hesitating, maybe even doubting, something divine shifted. Something called your name. And now you're here, reading this, feeling something stir inside your chest that you can't fully explain. That feeling, that's not curiosity, that's confirmation. Archangel Michael does not interrupt without reason. He does not step into your moment casually. When he appears, it is because something has already been set in motion. Something that cannot be delayed, something that cannot be rescheduled, something that cannot wait for you to figure it out later. And here is the truth you weren't expecting tonight has already been marked. Before you woke up this morning, before you checked your phone, before you even knew anything was shifting, heaven had already circled this exact moment in your life. A breakthrough, not small, not partial, but total, hath been assigned to your name. Not next week, on someday, tonight. But here's where it becomes real and maybe even a little unsettling. If you weren't meant to receive this, you wouldn't feel this pull. You wouldn't feel this urgency creeping into your thoughts. You wouldn't feel that strange sense that something is watching your response right now. Because something is. Heaven is watching your awareness. Not judging you, but waiting on you. You see, most people think breakthrough comes slowly, gradually, over time. But what no one tells you is that some breakthroughs arrive like a door that appears out of nowhere and disappears just as fast. A moment, a decision, a shift, and everything changes. And tonight you are standing in front of that door. But let me ask you something, and answer honestly. Even if it's uncomfortable, how many times have you felt like something was about to change and then nothing did? How many times did you feel close to something bigger only for it to slip away? How many times did you tell yourself, maybe later, maybe I'm not ready, maybe this isn't the moment, and then later never came? That pattern, that hesitation, that quiet delay you justify to yourself. That is exactly what this moment is here to break. Because Archangel Michael is not just bringing a message, he is breaking a cycle. He sees the times you held back. He sees the moments you doubted your own intuition. He sees the opportunities that brushed past you because you paused just a little too long. And now, standing in the authority of heaven, he is saying, not this time. This time, you were stopped. This time, you were pulled in. This time, you are being made aware before the moment passes, not after. And that changes everything. But listen carefully, because this is where the weight of this message settles deeper. Not everyone is hearing this. Not everyone was interrupted. Not everyone was chosen for this moment. There are people scrolling right now who will never feel what you're feeling. There are people who will continue their night without realizing what just passed them by. But you were paused. You were pulled. You were positioned. Why? Because something about you still responds to the divine. Something about you still listens even when you don't fully understand. Something about you has been waiting for this exact interruption. And now here you are, at the edge of something that could change everything, but only if you recognize it in time. Because here's the part no one likes to say out loud: breakthrough does not beg. It does not wait endlessly. It does not chase you. It appears and it responds to those who respond to it. That's why this moment feels urgent. That's why your spirit feels alert. That's why your thoughts are starting to race just a little faster. Because deep down you already know. This isn't random. This isn't just another message. This is a moment that is either going to pass through your life or transform it. And Archangel Michael is standing at the edge of that moment, watching, waiting not to force you, but to see if you will recognize what has already been prepared for you. So before you move on, before you distract yourself, before you tell yourself, "I'll come back to this later," ask yourself one question. What if this is the moment I've been waiting for and I only have one chance to respond? Because tonight is not just another night. It is an opening. It is an interruption. It is an invitation. And what you do next will determine everything that follows. Type "I am ready" in the comments if you feel this message. Blessing code 222 is now activating around you. There is something you must understand now, something that most people ignore until it is too late. Heaven does not operate on your comfort. It operates on timing. And timing, once missed, does not wait politely for you to catch up. It moves forward, with or without you. Right now, as these words reach you, there is an urgency in the atmosphere that cannot be softened, cannot be delayed, and cannot be negotiated with. This is not pressure created by fear. This is precision created by purpose. And Archangel Michael is making it clear. The moment you are standing in is not flexible. You may be asking yourself, why does this feel so intense? Why does this feel like something I can't just put aside and come back to later? And the answer is simple, but it carries weight, because later is not promised for what hath been assigned to tonight. There are divine moments that unfold slowly, gently, giving you time to process, reflect, and prepare. But then there are moments like this, moments that arrive fully formed, fully prepared, fully aligned, and they require one thing from you: immediate recognition. This is where many lose what was meant for them. Not because they were unworthy, not because they were unprepared, but because they hesitated. You see, hesitation is subtle. It doesn't look like rejection. It doesn't feel like disobedience. It feels reasonable. It feels safe. It sounds like, "I'll think about it, I'll respond later, I just need a little more time." But what you don't realize is that while you are buying time in your mind, time itself is moving past you in the spirit. Archangel Michael is not speaking with urgency to alarm you. He is speaking with urgency because he sees what you cannot see, the exact alignment of events, decisions, and spiritual openings that have come together for you at this precise moment. This alignment did not happen randomly. It has been building, quietly, behind the scenes of your life. Every delay you experienced before this, every closed door, every moment that didn't make sense, it was all leading to this exact point in time. And now that you have arrived here, everything is ready. But readiness means nothing if there is no response. This is the part most people struggle with. They wait for confirmation after the moment, instead of recognizing the moment as the confirmation itself. They wait for another sign, another feeling, another push, not realizing that the urgency they feel right now is the very sign they've been asking for. Heaven is not vague in moments like this. It becomes direct. It becomes clear. It becomes impossible to ignore. And yet many still ignore it. Because urgency makes people uncomfortable. It challenges their habit of delay. It forces them to step out of overthinking and into action. And for some, that feels too risky, too fast, too uncertain. But what if the real risk is not moving? What if the real danger is letting this moment pass because you wanted more time? You must understand something that Archangel Michael is revealing right now. There are spiritual assignments attached to specific windows. When the window is open, everything flows toward you. The favor, the clarity, the breakthrough. But when the window closes, those same things do not disappear, they are simply redirected. That is why timing matters. That is why this cannot be treated casually. That is why you feel what you feel right now. Because something inside you recognizes that this moment is not ordinary. You may try to distract yourself. You may try to minimize it. You may try to convince yourself that you're overthinking or imagining things. But deep down, there is a quiet voice that keeps repeating the same truth. This matters now. Not later. Not tomorrow. Now. And Archangel Michael is standing in that now, holding the weight of what has been prepared for you, waiting to see if you will meet it with the same level of urgency that heaven has released it with. Because here is the reality that cannot be softened. Heaven moves with those who move with it. Not against you, not to punish you, but because divine flow requires alignment. And alignment requires timing. If you step in sync with this moment, everything begins to unlock. But if you step out of sync, even slightly, you will find yourself wondering later why something that felt so close suddenly slipped away. This is not meant to create fear. It is meant to create awareness. Because you are not being rushed blindly. You are being called precisely. Everything about this moment has been measured. Everything about this timing has been designed. And everything about this urgency is intentional. You are not late. You are not early. You are exactly on time. But being on time only matters if you recognize that you are. So do not treat this like another message you can revisit. Do not treat this like something you can feel out later. Do not treat this moment lightly when heaven has marked it heavily. Because the difference between receiving and missing what is meant for you often comes down to one simple thing: whether you responded when it mattered most. And that moment is now. Type "I will not delay" in the comments if you are ready to move in divine timing. Lesson code 333 is now activated around your path. There are moments in life that feel important, and then there are moments that are important. Moments that carry a weight you cannot measure until they pass. This is one of those moments. And what Archangel Michael is revealing now is something most people never fully understand until it is too late. Not every opportunity is designed to return. You have been taught to believe that what is meant for you will always find its way back. That if you miss something, it will circle around again. That if it's truly yours, it cannot pass you by. But listen carefully, because this is where truth becomes sharper than comfort. Some things are meant for you, but only within a specific moment. And that moment is now. This is not about loss. This is about alignment. Heaven does not remove what belongs to you, but it does release it within windows. Windows that open with precision and close with purpose. And when a window opens, everything connected to your breakthrough begins to move toward you at once. The doors, the clarity, the energy, the favor, all of it aligns in a way that cannot be recreated later. That is why this feels different. That is why your spirit feels alert. That is why something inside you refuses to treat this casually. Because this is not just an opportunity. This is a window. And windows do not stay open forever. You may not see the full picture yet. You may not understand exactly what is about to change. But that does not make this moment any less real. In fact, the uncertainty you feel is often the sign that something bigger than your current understanding is unfolding. Think about it. How many times in your life have you looked back and said, "That was the moment. That was the point where everything could have changed." And in that reflection, you realized something painful. You didn't recognize it when it was happening. You hesitated. You waited. You assumed there would be another chance. But what if this is that moment again? Except this time, you are being warned before it passes. Archangel Michael is not speaking in possibilities. He is speaking in certainty. Tonight has been marked not just as a good time, not just as a hopeful moment, but as a design breakthrough point. A moment where what has been delayed begins to release, where what has been blocked begins to open, where what has been building begins to manifest. But here is the part that carries weight: it will not repeat itself in the same way. Because timing is not just about when something happens. It is about the exact alignment of conditions that make it possible. And those conditions are present now in a way they will not be later. You cannot recreate this alignment tomorrow. You cannot delay it and expect the same flow. You cannot pause it and return to it as if nothing has changed. Because something will change, the window will shift. And when it does, what was moving toward you may no longer be accessible in the same way. This is why some people spend years trying to recover what they missed in a moment. Not because they were denied, but because they delayed. Not because it wasn't theirs, but because they didn't step into it when it arrived. You are being given something rare right now: awareness before action. Most people only realize the importance of a moment after it has passed. But you are being shown while you are still inside it. That changes everything. Because now, your response is no longer based on confusion. It is based on choice. And choice carries responsibility. You can feel the weight of this moment pressing gently against your spirit, asking you to decide, not in fear, not in panic, but in clarity. Will you step into what is opening, or will you let it pass as something you almost acted on? There is no judgment in this question. Only truth. Because Archangel Michael is not forcing you. He is revealing to you. He is showing you the door while it is open. He is letting you feel the urgency while it is real. He is giving you the chance to recognize what most people miss. And now the rest is up to you. This window is not here to test your worth. It is here to test your response. Will you move when called? Will you act when it matters? Will you trust what you feel before your mind tries to delay it? Because the difference between those who step into breakthrough and those who watch it pass is often not strength, not intelligence, not even preparation. It is timing. And timing is now. Type "I step into my moment" in the comments if you are ready to receive what hath been prepared for you. Lesson code 444 is now activated around your breakthrough. As this window opens before you, understand this: every time you respond to a divine moment, you become a vessel through which others can be reached. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks or the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a voice. You are unlocking a wave of light that reaches souls who are still waiting for their moment. The Lord declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." And this is not distant scripture. It is a living promise moving through your obedience right now. I feel led to say this clearly. I am stepping into alignment, and I choose to be part of what heaven is doing in this hour. Your giving is not small. It is a seed planted into a divine harvest, a river that will flow into lives you may never see but heaven will never forget. Do not delay this act of obedience, because what you release in faith returns multiplied in ways only God can orchestrate. Step forward now, take action, and let your seed speak in the Spirit. There is something deeper happening beneath the surface of your hesitation, something that goes beyond simple indecision, beyond overthinking, beyond the excuses you may quietly tell yourself. And Archangel Michael is revealing it now with unmistakable clarity. Your delay has never been accidental. It hath been influenced. Yes, influenced. Because every time you have stood on the edge of something significant, something that could elevate you, shift you, move you forward, there has been resistance. Not always loud, Not always obvious, but consistent, strategic, timed so precisely that it almost felt natural. Think about it. How many times have you felt ready, truly ready, only for something to suddenly distract you? A thought, a doubt, a memory, a responsibility, a feeling that whispered, maybe not now, maybe later, and in that small moment of hesitation, the energy shifted, the momentum slowed. The opportunity faded just enough for you to step back instead of forward. That was not coincidence. That was interference. Archangel Michael wants you to see this clearly now, because you cannot overcome what you do not recognize. The delay you have experienced in your life has not been due to a lack of ability or a lack of readiness. It hath been the result of a subtle, persistent battle happening in the unseen, a battle over your timing. Because if the enemy cannot stop your breakthrough completely, the next best strategy is to delay it. Delay weakens momentum. Delay creates doubt. Delay convinces you that waiting is safer than moving. And over time, delay becomes a habit, a pattern so familiar that you begin to believe it is part of your nature, when in reality, it is something that hath been reinforced through repeated moments of hesitation. But tonight that pattern is being exposed. And once something is exposed, it begins to lose its power. You see, the enemy does not need to create chaos in your life to keep you from your breakthrough. Sometimes, all it needs to do is whisper at the right moment. A small hesitation, a slight uncertainty, a question that doesn't need an answer but creates just enough delay to pull you out of alignment. Are you sure? What if this isn't the right time? What if you're wrong? Those thoughts feel like your own, but they are timed too perfectly to be random, because they arrive exactly when you are closest to moving forward. That is the strategy. And if you do not recognize it, you will continue to respond to it as if it is your own voice, your own logic, your own reasoning. But Archangel Michael is stepping in now to separate truth from interference. He is showing you that your hesitation is not who you are, it is what you have been conditioned to follow. But you are not meant to follow it anymore. This is why tonight feels different. Because the same moment that would have once passed quietly is now being illuminated. The same hesitation that would have gone unnoticed is now being brought into your awareness. The same pattern that would have repeated itself is now being interrupted. And that interruption is divine. Because once you see the pattern, you have a choice. You can continue to follow it or you can break it. And breaking it does not require force. It requires awareness and decision. It requires you to recognize the moment when hesitation tries to enter and choose differently. Not later. Not after more thinking. Not after more confirmation. But in the moment itself. Because that is where the battle is. Not in the outcome. Not in the result. But in the split second where you either move forward or pull back. That split second hath been the battlefield all along. And tonight, Archangel Michael is standing in that exact space with you, strengthening your awareness, sharpening your discernment, and reminding you that you are not alone in this moment. You are supported. You are guided. You are protected. But you must also participate. Because divine protection does not replace personal response, it empowers it. This means that when hesitation arises, you do not ignore it, but you also do not obey it. You recognize it for what it is, a familiar pattern attempting to repeat itself, and you choose to step forward anyway. That is how patterns break. That is how cycles end. That is how breakthroughs happen. Not through perfection, but through decision. And right now, something powerful is happening within you. You are becoming aware of the very thing that has held you back. You are seeing the pattern from the outside instead of being controlled by it from the inside. You are recognizing that what once felt natural was actually strategic, and that recognition changes everything. Because once you stop calling delay normal, you stop accepting it as necessary. You begin to move differently. You begin to respond faster. You begin to trust the moment instead of questioning it. And in doing so, you shift your entire alignment. This is what Archangel Michael is activating in you right now. Not just awareness of the moment, but awareness of what has been trying to pull you out of it. Because once you see both clearly, the choice becomes undeniable. And tonight, that choice carries more weight than ever before. Because the same pattern that delayed you before is attempting to rise again. But this time you see it. This time you recognize it. This time you are not the same. And that means the outcome does not have to be the same either. Type "I break the delay" in the comments if you are choosing to move forward without hesitation. Blessing code 555 is now activated around your decisions. There comes a point in every spiritual journey where awareness is no longer enough, where understanding must turn into action, and feeling must turn into response. And that point is where you are standing right now. Because what is unfolding in this moment is not just a revelation. It is a test. Not a test designed to make you fail, but a test designed to reveal whether you will move when called. Archangel Michael is making this clear with unmistakable authority. Breakthrough is not just given, it is responded to. It is not forced into your life against your will. It meets you at the point of your obedience. And obedience is where many hesitate. Not because they do not want the breakthrough, but because obedience requires movement without complete understanding. It asks you to act before you feel fully ready. It calls you to step forward before everything makes sense. And that is where hesitation becomes dangerous. Because hesitation feels harmless. It feels like caution. It feels like wisdom. It sounds like you are simply being careful, simply taking your time, simply making sure you do not make the wrong move. But what you do not see is that hesitation, in moments like this, is not protecting you. It is positioning you to miss what has already been prepared. You are not being asked to act blindly. You are being asked to trust what has already been revealed to you. That quiet pull you feel, that inner knowing you cannot fully explain, that sense that something is happening right now, that is your confirmation. But confirmation requires a response, or it loses its purpose. This is why Archangel Michael is not softening his message. He is not suggesting. He is not gently advising. He is declaring, do not delay. Because delay, in a moment of instruction, becomes disobedience. And disobedience does not always look like refusal. Sometimes it looks like postponement. Sometimes it looks like saying yes in your mind but not acting in your reality. Sometimes it looks like waiting for a better time, a clearer sign, a more comfortable feeling. But obedience does not wait for comfort. Obedience responds to clarity. And you have already been given clarity. You may not have all the details. You may not see the full outcome. But you have enough to move. And that is all that is required. This is where many people misunderstand the nature of breakthrough. They think it arrives after they have figured everything out, after they feel confident, after they have removed all uncertainty. But in truth, breakthrough often arrives when you move despite uncertainty, because it is your movement that activates the next step. Not your thinking, not your waiting, not your hesitation, your movement. And that is what makes this moment so critical, because you are being watched, not by judgment but by alignment. Heaven is observing your response, not to decide if you are worthy, but to see if you are willing. because willingness opens doors that readiness alone cannot. You may feel a tension right now, a subtle pressure to decide, to move, to respond. That tension is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to awaken you. It is meant to bring you to a point where you realize that this moment requires something from you. Not perfection, not complete certainty, but obedience. Because obedience is the bridge between preparation and manifestation. Without it, everything stays potential. With it, everything begins to move. This is why hesitation is so dangerous in this exact moment. Not because you will lose everything, but because you may delay what was meant to begin now. And delay, once again, creates distance between you and what is already aligned for you. Archangel Michael is standing in this moment with you, not to pressure you, but to strengthen you. To remind you that you are capable of responding. That you are not as uncertain as your mind tries to convince you. That your spirit already knows what to do. You have felt this before. You have known what was right before. But in those moments, hesitation stepped in and changed your response. Not this time. This time, you are aware. This time, you see the pattern. This time, you understand the weight of your response. And that changes everything. Because now, when the moment asks something of you, you will recognize it. You will not dismiss it. You will not delay it. You will not push it aside. You will respond. And that response will carry you into what has already been prepared. This is the test. Not of your strength. Not of your worth. But of your obedience. Will you move when called? Will you act when it matters? Will you trust what hath been revealed enough to respond to it? Because the answer to those questions will determine whether this moment becomes a memory or a breakthrough. And the difference between the two is what you do next. Type "I choose obedience" in the comments if you are ready to move without hesitation. Lesson code 666 is now activated around your path. There is a truth that many avoid, a truth that feels uncomfortable to confront, yet remains undeniably real in the spiritual realm. Archangel Michael is revealing it now with clarity that cannot be softened. What is assigned to you can be received by another if you refuse to step into it. This is not about loss in the way you understand it. This is not about something being taken from you unfairly. This is about alignment. Because heaven does not operate in stagnation. It operates in movement. And when something is released, it seeks a vessel that is ready to receive it. You are that vessel, but only if you respond. There are blessings, breakthroughs, and opportunities that are prepared with your name on them. They are designed for your path, your calling, your season. But they are also tied to timing. And if the timing is met with hesitation instead of action, the flow does not stop. It redirects. That is the warning. Not to create fear, but to create awareness. Because many people assume that if something is meant for them, it will wait indefinitely. They believe that destiny is fixed in a way that requires no participation. But what they fail to understand is that destiny requires alignment, and alignment requires response. Archangel Michael is showing you something now, a movement in the unseen. A release has already begun. What have been prepared for you is not sitting still, waiting passively. It is active. It is moving. It is seeking agreement with your response. And agreement comes through action. If that agreement is not met, the movement continues. And that is where transfer occurs. This is not about someone taking what belongs to you. It is about someone else responding to what you hesitated to receive. It is about another person stepping into a moment you stepped away from. It is about alignment finding its match, wherever that match may be. That is why timing matters so deeply. Because in moments like this, the difference between receiving and missing is not ability, not worth, not preparation. It is response. You may feel something shift inside you as you hear this. A realization, perhaps even a recognition of moments in your past where something felt close, almost within reach, and then suddenly it was gone. Not destroyed, not taken, but simply no longer available in the same way. That was not coincidence. That was timing. And now, you are being brought into a moment where you are aware of it while it is happening, not after it has passed. This changes everything. Because now, you are not operating in hindsight. You are operating in real time. You are seeing the movement as it unfolds. You are feeling the urgency as it exists. You are standing at the exact point where your response determines the direction of what has been released. Archangel Michael is not warning you to create pressure. He is warning you to reveal reality. Because once you understand that blessings move, that opportunities flow, that breakthrough is active, you begin to see your role differently. You are not waiting for something to happen. You are being asked to meet it as it happens. And meeting it requires movement. Not perfect movement. Not fully planned movement. But intentional, immediate response. This is where hesitation becomes costly. Not because it destroys what is yours, but because it disconnects you from the moment it was meant to enter your life. And once that moment passes, the same opportunity may not return in the same form, at the same time, with the same alignment. It may come again differently later, in another way, but not as it is now. And what is available now is rare. You are standing in a moment where something has already been released toward you. You can feel it. You can sense it. Even if you cannot fully explain it, there is an awareness that something is moving, and that movement is waiting for your agreement. Not through words, but through action. Archangel Michael is standing in this moment as a witness, not forcing the outcome, but revealing the stakes. He is showing you that your response matters more than you may have realized. That your timing is not separate from your breakthrough. It is part of it. Because breakthrough is not just about what is given. It is about what is received. And receiving requires readiness to act. This is why you cannot treat this moment lightly. This is why delay is not neutral. This is why hesitation carries weight. Because you are not just deciding whether to act. You are deciding whether to align. And alignment determines flow. So now, the question is no longer whether something is coming to you. It is whether you will meet it. Because what is moving toward you right now will not stop moving. It will continue forward. The only question is, will it meet you where you stand? Or will it continue past you to someone who responds? This is the moment. This is the awareness. This is the choice. And what you do now determines everything that follows. Type "I receive what is mine" in the comments if you are choosing to align with this moment. Blessing code 777 is now activated around your breakthrough. There is a reason this moment feels heavier than the others, a reason why this message is not just passing through your awareness like everything else. It is because what is attached to your life is not ordinary. And Archangel Michael is revealing this now so you can finally understand something you have sensed for a long time but perhaps never fully accepted. You were not chosen randomly. You were chosen intentionally. Not because you are perfect. Not because you have never doubted. Not because you have always responded correctly. But because, even in your uncertainty, there has always been something within you that listens. Something that pauses when truth speaks. Something that feels when something deeper is happening. That sensitivity, that awareness, that pull you cannot ignore, that is not weakness. That is your calling. And your calling carries weight. This is why your moments feel different. This is why your decisions feel heavier. This is why hesitation affects you more deeply than it seems to affect others. Because when you carry something significant, your response to moments like this carries greater consequence. Not as punishment but as purpose. Archangel Michael is showing you now that your life has never been random. The patterns you have experienced, the delays you have faced, the awareness you have developed, all of it has been shaping you for moments exactly like this one. Moments where your decision matters. Moments where your response activates something beyond what you can see. Moments where what you choose to do does not just affect you but everything connected to you. Because your calling is not isolated. It is connected. Connected to opportunities that extend beyond you. Connected to people you have not yet met. Connected to outcomes you have not yet seen. And that is why this moment carries so much weight. Because when you step into alignment, you are not just stepping into something for yourself. You are stepping into something that has been waiting for your agreement so it can begin to unfold. This is also why resistance has followed you. Not constantly, not in obvious ways, but consistently enough that you have felt it. That quiet pushback whenever you get close to something greater. A subtle doubt that appears right when you are about to move forward. That feeling of being held back just enough to question your next step. That is not random. Because the greater the calling, the more precise the resistance. Not to stop you completely, but to see if you will recognize it and move anyway. And now you are recognizing it. You are beginning to see that your hesitation was not just hesitation. That your delay was not just delay. That your moments of pulling back were not just natural reactions, but part of a pattern that has been working against your alignment. But here's what changes everything. You are no longer unaware. You are no longer responding blindly. You are no longer moving without understanding the weight of your decisions. And that awareness elevates you. Because once you understand the weight of your calling, you begin to treat your moments differently. You begin to see that what feels small is not small. That what feels like a simple decision is not simple. That what feels like a minor delay can have a major impact. Not because you are fragile, but because you are significant. Archangel Michael is not telling you this to overwhelm you. He is telling you this to anchor you. To bring you into a place where you understand why this moment matters so deeply. Why this timing feels so exact. Why this urgency cannot be ignored. Because you are not just anyone passing through a random moment. You are someone standing at a point of activation. And activation requires response. You have felt this before, even if you did not have the words for it. That sense that your life is leading somewhere specific. That feeling that you are meant to do something more, something greater, something that has not fully revealed itself yet. That feeling is not imagination. It is recognition. Recognition of the calling that has been placed on you. And tonight, that calling is being brought into alignment with a moment that can move it forward. But only if you respond. This is where everything connects. The urgency you feel. The awareness you have gained. The pattern you now recognize. The opportunity that is present. All of it is leading to one point. Your response. Because your calling is not activated by waiting. It is activated by movement. And movement begins with a decision. A decision to trust what you feel. A decision to act when it matters. A decision to step forward even when everything is not fully clear. That decision carries weight. But it also carries power. Because when you move in alignment with your calling, things begin to shift in ways you cannot force or control. Doors open. That's clear. Connections form. Not because you made them happen, but because you aligned with what was already prepared. That is what is in front of you right now. Not something you have to create, but something you have to step into. And Archangel Michael is standing with you in this moment, not asking you to become someone else, but reminding you of who you already are. Someone chosen, someone aware, someone capable of responding. And now, the weight of your calling is not something to fear. It is something to honor, because it is leading you to this exact moment. And what you do with it will determine everything that comes next. Type "I honor my calling" in the comments if you are ready to step fully into alignment. Blessing code 888 is now activated around your purpose. There comes a moment when everything narrows, when all the awareness, all the warnings, all the preparation, all the understanding comes down to a single point of decision. And that point is not tomorrow. It is not later. It is not when you feel more ready. It is now. This is the final hour of this moment. And Archangel Michael is no longer revealing patterns or explaining delays. He is calling you to act. Because everything that has been building, everything that has been aligned, everything that has been prepared for you tonight is now waiting at the edge of your response. Not your thoughts, not your intentions, not your plans. Your response. You have already felt it. That inner tension. The awareness that something is asking something from you. Not vaguely, not eventually, but specifically. That sense that this moment is different, that it carries weight, that it requires you to do something, even if you cannot fully explain what that something is in words. That is the call, and the call does not repeat itself endlessly. This is why this moment is being described as a final hour. Not because everything ends if you do not act, but because this specific alignment, this exact opening, this precise convergence of timing will not remain available in the same way. You are standing at a threshold. Behind you is everything you have already experienced. The delays, the patterns, the moments you hesitated, the times you almost moved but didn't. In front of you is something new. Something that begins the moment you choose to step forward. But the threshold itself is where the decision must be made. And that decision cannot be carried forward indefinitely. Archangel Michael is making it clear that what is required of you tonight is not complicated. It is not hidden. It is not something you need to search for endlessly. It is something you already feel. It is the movement you have been avoiding. It is the step you have been postponing. It is the response you have been delaying. You know what it is. Even if your mind tries to question it, your spirit recognizes it instantly. That quiet knowing that rises without explanation, that sense of clarity that appears before doubt has time to form, that is what you are being asked to follow. Because the final hour is not about discovering something new. It is about responding to what has already been revealed. This is where many people falter. They keep looking for more information, more confirmation, more clarity, when in reality, what they need has already been given. They just have not acted on it. But this moment is different. Because now, you are aware that your response cannot be delayed without consequence, without punishment, but misalignment. And misalignment creates distance between you and what is already prepared. This is why the pressure feels real, not overwhelming but present, not chaotic but focused. It is the pressure of a moment that matters, the pressure of a decision that carries weight, the pressure of knowing that what you do now will determine whether this becomes a turning point or another moment you look back on and say, "I should have moved." But here is what Archangel Michael wants you to understand. Above all else, you are not being asked to do something impossible. You are being asked to do something immediate. And immediate action does not require perfection. It requires willingness. Willingness to trust what you feel. willingness to move before everything is clear, willingness to step forward without waiting for absolute certainty, because certainty often comes after movement, not before it. This is the shift from waiting to acting, from thinking to responding, from hesitation to decision. And that shift begins in this final hour. You do not need to run in confusion. You do not need to act in fear, but you do need to act, because the moment is active. The window is open. The alignment is present. And everything that has been prepared for you is waiting for one thing: your agreement through action. This is the moment where everything either begins or passes. And the difference between those two outcomes is not complicated. It is decision. So now, standing in this final hour, you must choose. Will you step forward into what is opening? Or will you remain where you are and let this moment move past you? There is no judgment in this question, only truth. Because Archangel Michael has already done what was needed. He has revealed, warned, clarified, and positioned you. Now, the final step belongs to you, and what you do in this moment will echo beyond it. Type ACT now in the comments if you are stepping into this moment without delay. Blessing code 999 is now activated around your breakthrough. As you stand in this final hour, understand that your response does not end with you. It creates a ripple that reaches others who are still waiting for their moment of awakening. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks or the PayPal link in the description, you are placing a seed into fertile spiritual ground, a seed that becomes light for someone still walking in confusion. The word declares, those who sow in faith will reap in abundance, and this is not distant truth. It is active, alive, and moving through your obedience right now. I feel this strongly. I am stepping into alignment, and I will not hold back what heaven is asking me to release. Your giving becomes a river that flows beyond your sight, touching lives, restoring hope, and opening hearts that were once closed. Do not delay this moment of obedience, because what you release tonight returns multiplied under divine authority. Step forward now. Act with intention, and let your seed speak powerfully in the Spirit. Now that you have come this far, now that you have seen the pattern, felt the urgency, recognized the moment, and stood at the edge of decision, you must understand what happens next. Because the closer you get to breakthrough, the stronger the resistance becomes. Not to destroy you, but to distract you at the final moment. This is the enemy's last attempt. Not loud, not obvious, but precise. Because it does not need to pull you far away. It only needs to shift your focus slightly. It only needs to introduce just enough doubt, just enough distraction, just enough hesitation to interrupt your response in this critical hour. And you must be ready for it. Archangel Michael is revealing this now so you are not caught off guard. Because what you are about to face will not feel like opposition. It will feel like normal life. A sudden distraction. A message. A thought. A responsibility. A feeling that pulls your attention away from what you know you should do. And in that small shift of attention, the moment begins to weaken. This is how it works. Not through force, but through diversion. You may suddenly feel tired. Your energy may drop without explanation. You may begin to question everything you just felt. Was that real? Am I overthinking? Maybe this isn't as important as it felt. These thoughts will not scream. They will whisper, and they will sound reasonable. That is what makes them dangerous, because they do not feel like resistance. They feel like logic. But Archangel Michael is making this clear. This is the final layer of interference. The last attempt to pull you out of alignment just before you step into what has been prepared. Think about it. How many times have you been on the verge of doing something important, only to suddenly feel distracted or unsure? How many times have you lost momentum at the last second, not because something major happened, but because something small shifted your focus? That was not random. That was strategic. Because the final moment is always the most critical. It is where everything either locks into place or slips away. And the enemy knows this. That is why the distraction comes now. Not earlier. Not when you were unaware. But now, when you are fully aware, fully positioned, and fully capable of responding. This is the moment it will try to break. But this is also the moment you are strongest. Because you see it. You recognize it. You understand it. And that changes your response. Because now, when distraction comes, you will not follow it blindly. You will not allow it to pull you away from what you know matters. You will pause, you will recognize the shift, and you will return your focus to the moment. That is how you overcome it. Not by fighting harder, but by staying aware. Because awareness neutralizes distraction. When you know what is happening, it loses its power over you. When you recognize the pattern, it cannot control your response in the same way. When you see the timing of the doubt, you understand that it is not your truth, it is interference. And once you understand that, you stop giving it authority. Archangel Michael is standing with you in this exact moment, strengthening your focus, anchoring your awareness, and reminding you that you are not alone in this final step. You are not expected to navigate this blindly. You are being guided, protected, and supported. But you must stay present. Do not drift. Do not disconnect. Do not allow your attention to be pulled into something that does not matter right now. Because what is in front of you matters more than anything else in this moment. This is not the time to overthink. This is not the time to analyze. This is the time to act. Because the longer you stay in thought, the more space distraction has to enter. The longer you hesitate, the easier it becomes for doubt to take root. But the moment you move, everything shifts. Movement breaks distraction. Action silences doubt. Response overrides interference. This is why this moment requires your full presence. Not partial attention. Not divided focus. But complete awareness. Because the enemy does not need to stop you completely. It only needs to delay you long enough for the moment to pass. But now, that strategy is exposed. Now you see it. Now you are ready for it. And that means it does not have to work. Because you are no longer the same person who hesitated before. You are aware. You are aligned. You are ready. And this time, when distraction comes, you will not follow it. You will move anyway. You will respond anyway. You will step forward anyway. And in doing so, you will break the final layer of resistance that has been standing between you and your breakthrough. This is the last attempt. But it is also your final opportunity to prove that you will not be moved away from what has been prepared for you. Stay focused. Stay present. Stay aligned. Because what happens next depends on what you do now. Type I stay focused in the comments if you are choosing to overcome every distraction. Blessing code 1010 is now activated around your mind and spirit. At this point, after everything that has been revealed, everything that has been exposed, everything that has been placed before you, there is one truth that must settle deeply within your spirit. A truth that removes fear, dissolves uncertainty, and anchors you in strength as you stand on the edge of this breakthrough. You are not alone in this moment. Not in your decision. Not in your hesitation. Not in your movement forward. Archangel Michael is not simply observing from a distance. He is present, active, positioned around you with intention. And his presence is not symbolic, it is protective. Because when a moment like this arrives, when a breakthrough of this magnitude is within reach, heaven does not leave you unguarded. It surrounds you. It reinforces you. It stands with you to ensure that what has been prepared has the opportunity to be received. But protection does not mean passivity. It does not mean everything happens without your involvement. It means that as you move, you are covered. As you decide, you are supported. As you step forward, you are not stepping into the unknown alone. You are stepping into a space that has already been secured. This is what Archangel Michael is revealing to you now. The fear you may feel, the uncertainty that tries to rise, the hesitation that attempts to return, these things are not stronger than the protection surrounding you. They only feel strong when you forget what is standing with you. Because protection is not always loud. It does not always announce itself. Sometimes it is quiet, steady, constant, working in ways you do not immediately see. But it is there, right now, in this moment. You have been guided to this point not just by chance but by design. And that design includes protection at every step. The very fact that you are aware, that you are seeing clearly, that you are recognizing the moment before it passes, that is evidence of protection already at work. Because many never reach this level of awareness. Many remain distracted. Many remain unaware. Many miss their moment entirely without ever realizing what happened. But you were stopped. You were shown. You were positioned. That is not coincidence. That is covering. Archangel Michael is reminding you now that the same presence that brought you here will remain with you as you move forward. You are not expected to carry this moment on your own strength. You are not required to figure everything out by yourself. You are not being asked to step into something without support. You are being asked to trust that support is already in place. Because fear often tries to convince you that if you move, you will be exposed. That if you act, you will be vulnerable. That if you step forward, you may fail. But protection speaks a different truth. It reminds you that you are not exposed. You are covered. You are not vulnerable. You are guided. You are not alone. You are accompanied. And that changes how you move. Because when you know you are protected, you do not hesitate in the same way. You do not overanalyze every step. You do not allow fear to dictate your response. You move with a quiet confidence, not because you have all the answers, but because you trust the presence that is with you. This is the shift that Archangel Michael is activating in you right now. From uncertainty to assurance. From hesitation to confidence. From fear to faith. Not blind faith, but grounded faith, rooted in the awareness that you are not navigating this moment by yourself. Every step you take forward is being watched, not to judge you but to support you. Every decision you make is being reinforced, not to control you, but to align you. Every movement you choose is being covered, not to remove your responsibility, but to ensure you are not unprotected in your response. This is why you can move now. This is why you can act without delay. This is why you can step forward even when everything is not fully clear. Because clarity is not the only thing you have. You also have protection. And protection is enough. Archangel Michael is standing at the threshold with you, not pushing you, not forcing you, but guarding the space around you so that when you move, nothing interferes with what has been prepared. This is your assurance. This is your covering. This is your strength. And now, as you stand in this moment, you are not standing alone in uncertainty. You are standing supported in clarity. And that means the final step ahead of you is not something to fear. It is something to trust. Because what is waiting for you is not danger. It is breakthrough. And you are protected as you step into it. Type "I am protected" in the comments if you are moving forward with full confidence. Blessing code 1111 is now activated around your life. Now you are here at the edge of activation. Not preparation anymore. Not awareness alone. Not just understanding what must be done. You are standing at the exact point where everything begins to move. And Archangel Michael is revealing what happens the moment you choose to respond, because this is where breakthrough is no longer a concept, it becomes reality. There is a shift that occurs the instant you act. Not hours later, not days later, but immediately. It may not always be visible to your eyes at first, but in the spiritual realm, the movement is undeniable. The moment you align your action with this timing, something unlocks. Something releases. Something that has been waiting for your agreement begins to flow toward you without resistance. This is activation. It is not dramatic in appearance, but it is powerful in effect. It is the point where potential turns into motion, where what was waiting begins to move, where what was held back begins to open. And this is what has been building toward you this entire time. You may have expected a sign before moving, but the truth is, your movement is the sign. Archangel Michael is making this clear. The breakthrough you have been waiting for is not separate from your response. It is connected to it. The moment you act, you are not chasing the breakthrough. You are stepping into it. This is why the delay had to be broken. Because delay keeps everything in potential. But action activates it. Think about how many times you have waited for something to change, hoping for a clear signal, a perfect moment, a complete understanding. And while you were waiting, nothing moved. Not because it was not meant for you, but because it was waiting for you. Waiting for your decision. Waiting for your alignment. Waiting for your response. And now, that waiting ends the moment you move. Because once you act, you will begin to notice something different. It may start subtly. A shift in how things respond to you. A clarity that begins to replace confusion. A sense of momentum that was not there before. Things that once felt stuck will begin to loosen. Things that once felt delayed will begin to move. This is not coincidence. This is activation unfolding. You will begin to see connections forming where there were none. Doors opening where there were walls. Opportunities appearing where there was emptiness. Not because they suddenly appeared out of nowhere, but because your action aligned you with what was already present. This is the nature of breakthrough. It does not always arrive as something new. It often reveals what was already there, waiting for you to step into it. Archangel Michael is showing you now that your life is not about to change randomly. It is about to shift in response to what you choose to do in this moment. And that shift will not be temporary. It will set a new direction, a new flow, a new pattern that replaces what has been holding you back. But here is something you must understand clearly: activation does not mean everything becomes easy instantly. It means everything becomes aligned. There will still be steps to take. There will still be movement required. But the resistance you once felt will not have the same power. The delays you once experienced will not hold you in the same way. Because once you activate your breakthrough, you are no longer trying to force movement. You are moving with it. This is the difference. Before, you were pushing. Now, you are flowing. Before, you were waiting. Now, you are receiving. Before, you were uncertain. Now, you are aligned. And alignment changes everything. Because once you are aligned, things begin to happen with a sense of rightness. Even challenges will feel different, not like blocks, but like steps. Not like resistance, but like refinement. You will move with a confidence that does not come from knowing everything, but from trusting that what has begun will continue. This is what Archangel Michael is activating in you. Not just a moment of change, but a shift in direction. A shift that begins now. A shift that continues beyond this moment. A shift that leads you into what has already been prepared. And as this activation takes place, you will look back at this exact moment and recognize it for what it truly was, the point where everything began. Not because something external changed first, but because you did. Because you chose to respond. Because you chose to move. Because you chose to align. And that choice set everything in motion. This is your activation. This is your breakthrough beginning. This is the moment where everything you have felt, everything you have sensed, everything you have been led toward becomes real. And it all starts with what you do now. Type "My breakthrough is activated" in the comments if you are stepping fully into alignment. Blessing code 1212 is now activated around your destiny. This is it. The moment that everything has been pointing toward. The moment that has been building quietly behind the scenes of your life, aligning itself piece by piece, waiting for your awareness to rise, waiting for your spirit to recognize what your mind could not yet fully grasp. And now you are here, not at the beginning, not in the middle, but at the point of completion. Because what started as a message has now become a decision, and that decision has now become a direction. Archangel Michael stands at this final threshold, not with warning this time, not with urgency alone, but with confirmation. Because what you have done, simply by staying, by listening, by becoming aware, by choosing to respond, has already begun to shift something in your life. You are not where you were at the beginning of this message. Something has changed. Something has aligned. Something has awakened, and that awakening is the seal. Because completion is not about everything being finished externally. It is about something being established internally. A clarity, a certainty, a decision that locks into place and does not waver the moment you step forward. That is what has happened here. You have moved from uncertainty to awareness, from awareness to understanding, from understanding to decision, and now, from decision to action. This is the full cycle. This is the completion. And once a cycle is completed, it cannot be undone. This is why this moment carries such power. Because you are no longer standing at the edge of possibility. You are stepping into reality. You are no longer wondering what could happen. You are participating in what is happening. You are no longer waiting for confirmation. You have become the confirmation through your response. This is the seal of your breakthrough, not a future promise, a present reality. Archangel Michael is revealing now that what you have activated in this moment will continue to unfold beyond what you can see. The decision you have made here will echo into the days ahead, shaping outcomes, opening paths, lining circumstances in ways that will begin to make sense as time moves forward. You may not see everything immediately, but you will feel a shift in your energy, a confidence that was not there before, a clarity that replaces confusion, a sense that something has finally begun, because it has. And this is where you must stand firm. Because once you step into alignment, the only thing that can pull you out of it is returning to old patterns, returning to hesitation, returning to delay, returning to doubt. But you are not the same anymore. You have seen too much. You have felt too much. You have understood too much. And that means you cannot go back to responding the way you did before. This is your new position. A position of awareness. A position of readiness. A position of movement. And from this position, your life begins to unfold differently. You will notice it in the way you think. You will notice it in the way you respond. You will notice it in the way opportunities begin to appear and align. Not because something outside of you changed first, but because you did. This is what stepping into your destiny feels like. It is not sudden chaos. It is not overwhelming force. It is alignment. It is flow. It is movement that feels right, even when it stretches you. And Archangel Michael is sealing this moment now with a final reminder. You did not arrive here by accident. You were guided. You were positioned. You were called. And now you have responded. That is the difference. That is the completion. That is the breakthrough. So do not look back. Do not question what you have already decided. Do not weaken the clarity that has been established. Stand in it. Move with it. Trust it. Because what has been activated in this moment will continue to unfold as long as you remain aligned with it. This is your beginning. This is your shift. This is your destiny in motion. And it all started with your response. Type "I have stepped into my destiny" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1313 is now sealed over your life. As this breakthrough seals over your life, understand this sacred truth. Every step you take in alignment becomes a light for someone still walking in darkness. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are releasing oil into lamps that are guiding lost souls back to God. The Lord declares, those who bring light will never walk in darkness, and this is a living promise now moving through your obedience. I hear this clearly in the Spirit. I am part of this mission, and I will not hold back what heaven is asking me to release. Your seed becomes a river, flowing into lives you may never meet, awakening hearts that are waiting for truth. Do not hesitate in this moment, because what you release now will return multiplied under divine authority. Step forward, give with purpose, and let your obedience echo in eternity.